Like I say, well, some people covered it up because some other people started coming to me and we're like, so you like to get kids high on opium and cocaine, eh? Because like I said, there was that really, 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 really bad person, and I had basically beached my battleship or one of my battleships, and we had basically taken out his defenses and everything else like that. Like I said, he was actually like defendable and basically like really powerful against other people that were like him or of his level. Like he wasn't really ready for someone like me to like go in there because like I say, like I could lose the battleship for a year and have massive damage to it. Like they didn't expect like this battleship to basically be like full speed ahead like because like I said, there was like it was like a slow sloping beach, so like the battleship was gonna have to like be. I was like, yeah, ram it at full speed. Like I'm serious. The battleship, I'm pretty sure, rammed it at full speed, going 40 miles an hour, just like where the front end was like up in their ways. And like I say, he had protective barriers. He had the concrete. He had the little thingies. Like his beach was protected. Like they didn't expect that I would go for like full on. But I was like, when those battleship, when those cannons are like dead level, because like I say, the battleship and the beach because there was a hillside. It was like direct 1-to-1 where the battleship was like just a little bit lower or something like that, you know. And I and I was even there was even like a berm, and I was like, just shoot through the berm, just like anyway, so like he was a major drug. He had like acres and acres and acres of drugs. Basically, he was like one of the big suppliers of opium and cocaine, and I think he had the whole place like it was all converted over to basically opium farms. And originally, I had like I think I might have done some planting or whatever, and had normal farms there, but he had taken it over and turned it into opium and drugs or something like that. I'm not exactly sure, but basically he was one of the largest opium suppliers in the world. And I had just and I was basically one of the largest metal suppliers and gun suppliers in the world. So, and he didn't really expect for someone with like whole armies and like multiple battleships to basically be like, and then just like, boom, and like I say, so I became in one fell swoop. I eliminated a really bad person, and I also became the largest drug supplier of opium and cocaine or drugs in the world. So later on, people would come to me and be like, "Oh, so you like to get kids high, or?" It's like, actually, he was a really, 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 really ridiculously bad person, and I was just taking him out. And I had to sacrifice. People died because I mean the beach assault was easy, but then we got into the prolonged assault going up to his safety house, which we had bunkers and other stuff. I mean they scattered mostly, but then they were kind of like you know, and then that was a big long fight, and I had to sacrifice. I was paying all those guys to go up there and basically take care of this guy. And later on, a lot of people were like, well, you know, anyway. So we took out we took out all his people and or something like that, and also the safety house we had built for him. So anyway, so I became the world's largest drug supplier right then and there. So then I built. So then I was like trying to spur on stimulus money and all that other stuff. And so like I said, I did the calculations on how much opium because I asked. I was like, well, so how much opium are we talking about here? And how much cocaine? And I was like figuring out, just like I mean, normally I do business, and I'm like, well, it's like mining and minerals and fabrication and stuff. That's what I do. So then I started looking at the opium business. I was like, and then that's when I started thinking about maybe refining it, or I was like, because I know, like, it's a normal thing for me. I would start a business or I'd get into a business and then like I think about making it better. So then with the opium, I admit I kind of took the same idea to it. So I was like thinking about how to make it more pure. And that's also how I started thinking, well, so basically it's a painkiller. And I was like, huh. I was like, well, wouldn't this have medical applications and all that other stuff? And some of them said, well, yeah, I mean, maybe. And I was like, yeah, put some people on that. Let's see if we can get this refined and increase the potency and maybe apply it to medical use. So that's what I went from. I was the largest. I became the largest drug supplier in the world, and then getting real technology and real people in there. That all happened around Germany, or somewhere around in there. And so then a lot of people, they just saw Lucifer as this big old drug supplier and all that other stuff. It's like, well, it didn't really happen that way. It was really more like a different way where this guy was psychotic and killing people and basically taking out legitimate businesses. And basically he was going to be a problem for me anyway. So anyway, and then I was spending like 90% of the money or the 100% of the money that was being made. For one thing, I was getting it refined and maybe used in medical applications, and I was building cities, towns, and basically giving people an opportunity to do. I was using it for building new businesses and stuff like that. So yes, but I mean that's what I do. I make better businesses. I would always go in and improve things, and I was giving away free tools basically, and just like charging like a minimum tax when they can pay it. Anyway, and so a lot of them actually ended up giving me their businesses, but I was like, give it to your kids because, and they actually did give it to their like 2 or 3 generations of their kids or something. Anyway, yeah, and like I said, it just became this. It all began right there in Germany. Like I was just a little manufacturer of stuff, and then I became the world's largest drug supplier because of this guy. And then I was increasing the drug supply even more, which I probably shouldn't have done. I was like, and let's look at the yields. Is this guy actually farming it right, or can we get some more nutrients in there? Because, I was looking at it just like any other business. So, yeah. And then so we actually increased the yield of the farms and actually made great improvements. So we were actually turning out more drugs than he ever could or ever did because we were running it differently. And people were like, well, it's for the medical and it's for the medicinal properties, and like I wasn't using it to get sex or get takeover or anything. I was just like, well, normally I'm a miner and I'm a battleship builder and gun supplier somewhat, and safety house builder, and right then there I became something more, something different. So, and that's when that, and it's like, well, yes, there's some downsides, but we're not using it like that. Like we're just doing, it's like I really didn't want to take it over. I would have actually rather have maybe given up, but I was like, oh, I mean, maybe we can make it useful. Maybe drugs have a useful side to them or something like that. So I wasn't asking for anybody to have sex with me or anything like that or trying to subvert anyone. It's just like, well, he had to die and I had battleships, so we took him out. And and then I took over his business and bought the land. Like I said, he had just used guns to get the land, and I actually was like, all right, well, but I'm going to need to buy the land, of course, and do this legitimately. Just because he took over the place with guns doesn't mean I'm going to do that. So I paid the money to the people, and did it just like a normal business, just like I always do it. So, I applied the same things that I applied to everything else to that. So, but then, yeah, I became the world's largest drug supplier. So, of opium and cocaine or whatever plantation he had, which was drugs. He was a drug king. So, and it was a very bad one. People hated him. So, and I had investigated him for over 5 years, something like that. So, anyway, and then, yeah.